Welcome to another episode of the Unpopular Podcast. Some people, in order to break into podcasting, or comedy, or make a name for yourself in music or journalism, you have to, somebody has to hire you, or you have to make a name for yourself. You got to like I mentioned, you got to have a following. And the ways to get a following is telling people who you know from your immediate circle, if you have them, and just putting yourself out there and hoping that random strangers will find you and become a fan. Now, some people have that gift. Their immediate circle, they just naturally make friends, and all the friends are going to come see them, and all the friends are going to tune into the podcast. And then for some reason, along with that, they naturally just attract strangers who they don't even, it's kind of like when you go out in groups and pairs of two. Everybody wants to talk to you when you're with somebody else, but when you're alone, no one will even return your attempts to start a That's how people are. But the point of all this is that a lot of podcasters, a lot of people who get a successful podcast with following and make money, they talk about something they know about. Like you have a lot of retired detectives, or maybe like former medical professionals, or former news anchors or lawyers who start a podcast talking about what they know of. Now, I've been doing a podcast for about 5 years now, and I haven't talked about things I know about: life, making money, family, comedy, music, podcasting. But I have something else which I have a lot of experience in, and I just been kind of paranoid about talking about that because I'm afraid that people I know are going to find it and they're going to criticize it and say that what I'm saying is wrong information. But I had a full career in social services, and I was thinking about starting a podcast just talking about that. I would call it the Social Services Podcast, and I wouldn't start it on YouTube. I probably would start on one of the podcast platforms so you can listen. Because if I wanted to start another YouTube channel here, I would probably have to make up another Gmail address to go with and I already got 3 YouTube channels and like 3 or 4 or 5, 6 email. I just don't feel like making things more complicated. Now, if things hit big, if people start listening to the Social Services Podcast on the podcast platform, then sure. Then I'll go out of my way to create a YouTube channel so people can watch it in video. And because the episodes on YouTube are stored indefinitely, if you have a free podcast on one of the podcast platforms, usually they only give you like 90-day storage, and then they delete so it's good to have a YouTube channel so you can store your episodes indefinitely. But like I said, you can't be all over the place. I'm doing 3 YouTube channels. I'm doing my podcast. On and off, I do Instagram and TikTok. I'm trying to stay away from all those things because I don't think it's mentally healthy for me. But yes, the Unpopular Podcast. I am unpopular. I'm as unpopular as you'll ever be. I just never had that knack, that ability to get people to want to engage and talk and hang around or come and see me or pay to come and see me or offer me anything. Really, the only kind of acknowledgement I get is when I show up for these $16 an hour jobs standing around in a parking lot doing security. Then they'll hire me because along with the other 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. That's my worth. There are comedians who I imagine they make millions of dollars doing comedy or podcasting or acting or music because they're in thick. People like them. You're either in or you're out. So I'm talking from the outside. But it's okay. I'm still talking and you're still listening, or you're not listening, but I'm still talking.